One thing I really do remember is that the sky was just so blue. It was just such a perfect day out.
On September 11th, I was on my way into work, expecting another regular day at the firehouse.
I was going to go to a funeral in Long Island, and I started driving there and came over to radio, like AM, FM radio, small plane that hit the World Trade Center.
We just had a plane crash into Upper Floor of the World Trade Center, transmit a second alarm, and start relocating companies into the area.
You see things in movies, but to see things like this in real life, it almost seems unimaginable, like it's really not happening.
Roll every available ambulance you got to this position.
You can see the smoke billowing from the buildings from as far out east as you can imagine.
When I finally got to work, the first tower collapsed, and about a half hour, the second tower collapsed. And that's when I knew today was not going to be a normal day.
The building collapsed, and the whole entire area tanked.
I want to help people, and I want to take care of people. And that's a situation you always find yourself in any form of law enforcement.
Our assignment initially was to assist the New York Fire Department searching places where either survivors might still be or where human remains might be.
Me and my partner went from precinct to precinct trying to figure out who was responded down there, who was not accounted for yet, and coordinating with our borough operations as far as what the next plan was.
We arrived down here, and then it was, go wherever you could, do whatever you can, whatever was needed. Nobody's being told what to do, they just knew what to do.
One of the things that we saw were these huge piles of debris, the many stories in height. You saw that there were people crawling all over it.
Started going to all the hospitals, just trying to count for, who was missing, who wasn't missing, dealing with any injury they brought in, which amazingly was not a lot.
Not only were we searching for people where we could find them, but also too, we started doing what we call delayering, where we would remove the upper layer, which would expose the layer below it, search that, remove that layer.
So it was a combination of working the site, dealing with the families, and then when we started recovering bodies, going to the morgue and doing the identification with them.
It's just kind of a surreal thing. As day turned to night, the nighttime experience was dramatically different. While all this noise was kind of going around with trucks and cranes and bulldozers and all this stuff happening, at the same time, it was like walking on the moon. It was like it was moon dust. It was just really eerie.
They performed admirably well under probably the most extreme circumstances any firefighter had ever faced to date. There'd never been an incident like this in the United States before. September 11th was a roller coaster. And what I mean by that is the devices that we typically rely upon to communicate to each other were taken out. So one of the things that came out of that is FirstNet, and the idea of coming up with a public safety communication system that was based on cell phones.
The advantages that we have today are invaluable. Technology being, first and foremost. Technology is in everything. It gives you, the heads up to have the ability to respond at the highest level.
FirstNet continues to be a new and emerging technology. However, it holds great promise for the first responder, regardless of what your discipline is. So as we approach the 20th anniversary of 9/11, it's given me the opportunity to think again about the great sacrifice that took place in that day, the brave actions of people helping people, the first responders.
And anything when it's a 5-year, a 10-year, 15, 20, whenever it's a milestone year, It's going to bring up a lot of emotions for me and everybody else that was, saw it from around the world or was there.
You want life to go on to a point, but for so many families, especially those that lost loved ones, 9/11 is always there. And it's important to keep their memories alive. That's why the museum memorials was such an important thing for them.
It was an honor and privilege to be a part of the World Trade Center response. There are a lot of lessons learned from that, and I've devoted the rest of my career to try and ensure that those lessons learned, as well as the sacrifice made by people, will never be forgotten.